This month is the second anniversary of Hurricane Sandy, a natural disaster that destroyed a large portion of our eastern seaboard. After the largest storms flooded many communities, volunteers came from far and wide to help their neighbors. 2 years later, they continue to repair and rebuild. Travel Television presents some of these stories.
Today, Oceanport Cares was very fortunate to have the volunteers come from a local church, and they've gone to several of our homes here in Oceanport where the residents were out of their homes displaced by the storm. After lifting and inside repairs, they're now back in their homes to some degree and just need that extra help with finishing things around their property, moving things out of storage back into their house. And these homeowners, throughout all this recovery process, have been the same people offering their help to their neighbors. It's a real amazing phenomenon to see people like Bobby need the help, but be the first one to offer help to someone else. Oceanport Cares started literally the day after the storm, almost a year ago. A core group of volunteers, Chrissy, Wendy, Chris, Buzz, they got together and thought of ways to help our town. And the wonderment of that small act of kindness on our behalf triggered people from literally as far away as Washington State and Florida to come to Oceanport on their days off for a week at a time in the hot summer. They rolled up their sleeves, they opened their hearts, brought their toolboxes and their bagged lunches, and came every day, 5 days in a row, helping tear out sheetrock, put in floor joists, put up floorboards, walls, you name it, move bushes, cut down trees. The outpouring of support from people far and wide who never even heard about Oceanport has touched so many lives here. They've truly impacted homeowners. And me, who wasn't even affected by the storm, cannot believe the outpouring of kindness and support. If you have an hour to spare or a week that people have given, it will truly be cherished and remembered for a lifetime. You just can't imagine how truly appreciated it is. Bobby and his family suffered probably the extreme loss from the storm, and yet he was the first one there way back in October helping other people in need. So if you're willing to help, just know that the people you help are always the first person offering help for the next person. There's nothing like it.
Hi, my name is Mary. I'm in New Jersey. I was a victim of Hurricane Sandy, and I have lived in this house all my life. I'm not giving it up. I am a widow. I work with a school teacher's salary, so insurance didn't cut it, credit cards didn't cut it, and if it wasn't for the volunteers, I don't know how I would have ever gotten anything done outside my property. All right, I am so grateful for the 3 groups that I've had come. They've helped me move large pieces of furniture. They've helped me lay carpeting down. I've had people come and clean out my whole garage. Still working on the garage, and now I have some people here helping me with the yard work. It's a wonderful thing. I am also a volunteer too, so whenever you can give back, it makes you feel good. I had 2 groups come from some churches in West Virginia. They were a lot of fun, strong college students, very, very helpful. I've had people from a church locally now in New Jersey, and they're the ones helping me today in the background. And I think that they're doing a wonderful job, and I also have participated in volunteer activities also. In the long run, if it wasn't for the volunteers coming and helping, I would still be probably in another home. I'm so grateful that I had the help for moving furniture, which is something that I wasn't able to do. I'm grateful to have the help on the outside, which when you're not here for a while, nature tries to take over, and Hurricane Sandy has had a great impact financially and emotionally on myself and a lot of people in my neighborhood. It'll be a long time before we really feel like we're back to normal again, and we continue to need help. So if there are volunteer groups out there, don't give up on us yet. We still need you.
My name is Bill Futornik. I am the Ritual Director of Congregation Beth Jacob in Redwood City, California. And I brought a group of teenagers mostly, and actually a group last week as well, to Long Island to work with Nechama, which is the Jewish response to disaster. And we're here to rebuild houses. And we're here to help those who were affected by Hurricane Sandy. And we're here to really volunteer and give our time to improve the world. I discovered there was only really one one organization, Jewish organization, that was a disaster relief organization. That's Nechama. And I contacted them, and they were very quick to get back to me, and they just seemed incredibly well organized around this effort. And they said, well, you know, as far as Oklahoma goes, we don't know how much longer we'll be there, but the Sandy rebuilding is going on for another year, which was very surprising to me because, you know, the hurricane hits in October, and for a year and a half they're going to have to rebuild. The minute it leaves the newspaper, it seems to leave our consciousness. Once you get on the ground and do it, you kind of see, yeah, you know, that was a pretty transforming experience. And I know that the group I had last week felt pretty transformed by the experience. You know, in this group, we've been having little debriefs at night, and the teens are saying, you know, how incredibly grateful they feel. And if nothing else, it'll make you feel very grateful for the life that you have.
My name is Sasha, and I'm here. I'm coming from Las Vegas, Nevada, and for half my life I was in prison, and I just feel like I'm spending the second half of my life fixing what I did in the first. Volunteering, I would say, is the absolute most rewarding thing I've ever done, and it's just so nice being able to help people in need, and I'd recommend it to anybody.
I'm Dalia Jude, and we're in Massapequa, New York, rebuilding homes after Hurricane Sandy. I decided to come here because I figured to make good of my summer, of my free time, and volunteer with something that I was passionate about and help with what I could. We've been on this house for the whole time so far, just the two of us.
My relative's house burned down in a fire locally, and I knew like what devastation like came to them, and I wanted to help people like them during my summer. I'm from San Francisco, California, and we're working with Nechama. We're here for 5 days. Even if you don't have any experience like building homes, or like you've never done anything like this, to like come in here and make such a difference, or at least make a little bit of a difference, is like means a lot to me, that I can like learn and kind of just help someone out in any way that I can by being here and doing just my part.
I think the best part of the volunteer experience is seeing the progress we've made on the houses just over a couple of days, and seeing how happy the people who live here are with the work we're doing. I would say it's worth it. It's worth the unpleasant weather and the hard work you do all day, because at the end of the day you feel like you're really making a difference, and that's more than you would make by not doing it. So you feel not only good about yourself, but you feel good about the work you're doing and the people you're helping. So I would just say it's a great experience, and I recommend it.
My name is Mark Ruppert. I'm pastor of First Presbyterian Church in Akron, Ohio, and we brought a group out from our church just yesterday. And we are here to help with through the Presbyterian Disaster Assistance Program. We are trying to get mold out from the basement, and then they're just taking all kinds of things that have collected over the time out of the second and third floor. We went to Gulfport, Mississippi after Hurricane Katrina hit, and so we were working down there out of a Presbyterian church, also with Presbyterian Disaster Assistance Program. Our group really wants to be Jesus to others and to be his example and to come alongside other people that are in need. Get in touch with the Presbyterian Disaster Assistance Program. They can go online and just volunteer.
My name is Dick Hillebrand from First Presbyterian Church in Akron, Ohio. We're a group of 9 people here today, helping out in Queens, New York, on Rockaway Beach, and we're just here to do what we can to clean up after Hurricane Sandy. We've taken several trips before. We went to Alaska about 7 years ago. We were in Sitka, Alaska. We went down to Mississippi at Gulfport. We were down there helping for about a week at that time. Went down to a small mission camp in Kentucky, and now our trip here. I think we're all interested in trying to help. We're all members of a church who we do a lot of stuff in the Akron area, but it's nice to step out and see other areas and help other people that we don't normally see.
I'm Mel Hathaway. I'm the pastor of the Sonnenberg Mennonite Church in near Kidron, Ohio. And we have a group of fellows from the church there that decided we would get together and do a week's of service, and connected with MDS, Mennonite Disaster Service, and this is the project that they invited us to come and work at. So we're here at Staten Island, and we're trying to help out some people that need some help getting their houses back in shape so they're livable again. Mennonite Disaster Service is a nationally recognized organization, but we always try to partner with local folks that are working to improve the situation for people. And so for me as a volunteer, I don't have to know all the ins and outs of what's happening here. I come in, there's a supervisor here that's telling us where the jobs are and lining up the materials for us. And so that's real helpful. We'd have a hard time coming in and doing this kind of thing on our own, but to work through the organizations that are here, that's makes it possible for us.
My name's Ned Mast. I'm from Worcester, Ohio, and I'm here with Mennonite Disaster Service, helping these homeowners rebuild their homes after Hurricane Sandy damage. I've done other trips before with Mennonite Disaster Service, but more in our local area in northeast Ohio for other storm-related damages. We really enjoy the camaraderie that we have with our other volunteers, and it's a good chance to get away and help other people out in the process. Well, I didn't see the damage right after the hurricane, but I heard that these houses were all gutted and stripped down. We're working at putting drywall up today and working on some subfloor damage in the back where there was moisture that rotted out the joists. And looks like we have quite a good ways to go yet, but a lot of work's already been done. I'd encourage anyone that has two hands and is able-bodied to come out and volunteer. We can always use the help, and there's skilled laborers around to let everyone know what to do and keep things organized. But it's a good experience and a good way to meet new people and help your neighbors in the process.
My name is Gene Denlinger. I'm from Lancaster, Pennsylvania. I'm here in Staten Island helping to rebuild after Hurricane Sandy. I've been involved with some other relief efforts through Mennonite Disaster Service, and it's something that I retired recently from my job, and I have more free time, so it's something I wanted to do as I'm able. It's not only beneficial to the people that you're helping, it's also very beneficial to yourself, just your whole self-esteem, just helping other people just really helps everyone.
Hi, I'm Lisa Jones, the director of the Coney Island Recovery Effort for Beacon Community Services, and this is...
I'm Todd Gorman, a volunteer lawyer here.
Yeah, Todd's been a volunteer actually quite a while with us at BCS. I just wanted to share that Todd, you came to us And why did you want to volunteer with us?
Well, I heard a little bit about BCS and the great work they did in the community, and that was initially why I came here. And then I met Lisa, who's back in January involved with Coney Island Relief, and she pulled me into all the efforts there.
I wanted to say that the volunteers that we have here, some of them are one-shot deal volunteers, and some volunteers kind of come and stay with us for a long time. Todd came to us, and like most volunteers, he got on the phone, he started calling people, and really felt and understood the need of volunteers that would help with such a disaster that we were hit by. We have right now about over 1,000 families in our database. All of those families came to us have been affected by the storm. With our department is fairly small. There was no way without volunteers we could reach them. So we have volunteers that come and they get on the phone like Todd did. What was that like?
Well, it was interesting. I didn't know what to expect. When I first made the phone calls, I heard all types of tragedy, people ripped from their homes. And there were a few that I followed up with. And every time I followed up with somebody, it led to more and more need and more issues. And what I found with Coney Island is the hurricane created a lot of need.
My name is Mike Mansfield. I'm 77. I'm retired. I grew up with such a strong work ethic that after I retired, unless I was doing something, I might have gone crazy. So here at Brooklyn Community Services, I've been volunteering for 4, 5, 6 years, something like that. I also do volunteer work for the Brooklyn Botanic Garden. And between those two, that kind of fills out my week enough so that I'm still sane. Thanks.
We're on Wygant Street here in Port Richmond, the North Shore section of Staten Island. This entire street was devastated by Sandy. All 5 of these houses washed out. You can see they're in different stages of disarray. One house behind me is full of mold. It's very obvious if you just peek in the window. All of these houses were inhabited by undocumented immigrants, very low-wage immigrant workers and their families, and they were displaced because of Sandy. Some of them are still in the evacuation center today. Others are living with family and friends. This just is really an example of the vast reach of Sandy's devastation for Staten Island. We think of it as the South and East Shore devastation, but here on the North Shore as well, there were hundreds of families affected. So I'm from Project Hospitality, and we are an interfaith effort that works with hungry and homeless people. So this was a natural for us to become involved in the disaster. At first, our work centered on evacuating people the day before the storm and then providing for evacuation space during the storm, after the storm, and continue to run the evacuation centers today, 10 months later. In the weeks after the storm, we gathered clergy from an array of different denominations and affiliations, Jewish clergy and Muslim, and Hindu and Christian, Catholic, to ask ourselves the question of where we could be of most help, how the churches and how the houses of worship could continue to provide support in the disaster areas, and how we were going to organize that support to people on the ground, the different hubs and points of distribution. And we began meeting November 12th, 2 weeks after the disaster. By December 27th, we had pretty much formed ourselves into a coalition, and in January, visited by FEMA to hear from them that we were actually at the seed planting of the Long-Term Recovery Organization for Staten Island, which is what we've become. We're now an 85-member coalition. We span additional coalitions that have joined on to us, including Connect to Recovery, which is a Jewish coalition, and all of us together are working voluntarily on the rebuild effort. And these groups, if they're unskilled laborers, there's plenty to be done in terms of providing food to the disaster area, doing housing needs and assessment surveys, and going door to door to find out what people's needs are, hosting help fairs for the different Sandy families. And for the skilled laborers, there's houses to rebuild, one house at a time. We had 22,000 households affected here in Staten Island, 7,000 people displaced, several hundred people still displaced and not in their homes today. One of the great coordinating features of this coalition, of this long-term recovery organization, is our ability to garner the help of our houses of worship to host groups that are coming in to do the recovery work. So from Temple Emmanuel here in Port Richmond and Faith United Methodist Church to the Presbyterians and the Lutherans and the interdenominational churches and our Pentecostal churches, we are able to house groups of up to 60 volunteers at a clip and provide for them appropriate showers. Our local Moravian church, Newton Moravian Church, is hosting our showers for all of our volunteers that need showering. We're able to get the word out to folks that we're available. There's some cost incurred to help the churches where it's needed, and where it's not needed, we're able to do this for free. But we have to provide for volunteers to come in because this is a long recovery. There are so many houses that need to be repaired. There are so many lives that need to be restored, and we need all of the help, hands on deck, to make us accomplish house to house the restoration to the fullest degree possible of every family affected by Sandy and suffering by Sandy today.
Travel Television presents a documentary on Hurricane Sandy kitchen relief produced by Sabrina Kentis.
When the storm hit, it was a very scary night. We had water coming up, flooding in my basement. Everyone on the beach got about 7 feet of water in the house.
The devastation after the storm was so bad. People were really, really hungry. There was no power, people had no food, no heat, it was cold too.
The magnitude of the storm was such that it affected a huge area.
It was really hard for me to see everything that was going on and not be able to help. And when I got back here, I found out about this really great new group of neighbors, really people from all over the neighborhood helping.
I own a restaurant, Two Boots of Brooklyn, and right after the storm, we decided that there's a real need for hot food out there because there was still no power, there was nothing.
So we had to cook all this food and collect all these supplies. We said, you know what? We can use the sanctuary as a warehouse.
Some volunteers work in the kitchen making the soup, and we have other volunteers who are slicing up deli meat and slicing up bread, and they make sandwiches. We're doing about 1,500 meals today. We also portion out some of the soups in the soup containers. And we also send food out, like canned goods, food pantry kind of stuff. Cleaning supplies, garbage bags.
It was really amazing to be able to see all of Brooklyn really taking care of each other.
And then we go out to about 5 or 6 different locations throughout Brooklyn and Queens each day. We've probably been to over 100 different sites. Some sites are inside, some sites are in the tents, and other times just driving up to a building and just like beeping our horn and letting people know that we're out here with hot food.
The kitchen's being open, kind of giving people like some security, a little bit of a social life outside of the 4 walls that they're miserable in now, or the walls that they don't have any longer. Yeah. So Joe has no walls.
We're giving people some sort of sense that they're not forgotten. Having people crying and like hugging us and being like, you know, we haven't had a hot meal in a week and a half.
Slowly but surely, I myself am recovering with what's happened to us. It was a real disaster here, and it still is.
Actually, right now is a very dangerous time because a lot of the organizations are leaving. A lot of the distribution sites are closing down. By just thinking because time happened, that progress happened, no.
Basically, I just want everyone to know that the need is still really urgent, and there's still people whose kitchens don't function, and we can't stop. We got to keep on going.
People are so passionate about helping other people.
We support each other, we help each other out, and all of us thankfully are getting through it. We're still repairing. It's going to take a while, but it's coming along.
And we're all just one big community trying to help each other out.
Jersey Cares, a nonprofit organization established in 1993, recruits and engages volunteers in rewarding, effective efforts that address community-identified needs. In the aftermath of Hurricane Sandy, Jersey Cares is operating the Volunteer Reception Center to support Ocean County in a partnership with the Hurricane Sandy Resource Center. At the center, residents can receive assistance from multiple agencies working collaboratively to assist families in their rebuild effort, assist communities in their recovery process, and lead local and national volunteers in the effort. Volunteering with Jersey Cares is easy. Register at jerseycares.org. Choose from the hundreds of opportunities on their monthly calendar.
My name is Ben, and I'm currently in Ortley Beach, New Jersey, working with Jersey Cares. And so what we're doing at the moment is we're working to put up drywall in this house that was damaged by Hurricane Sandy. And so we've been working for a few days to clear it out, to prep it, and then to put all the drywall up, and eventually we'll spackle and we'll paint, and we're trying to help this homeowner get back on her feet. I've been in New Jersey for a couple weeks now, and when I got here I was really surprised that there was still so much work that needed to be done, given that it's about 9 months after Sandy. But I've been to a number of houses that have been mucked and gutted and have had mold remediated, but they still need drywall put up. And there's still a lot of work that still needs to be done. And so as much labor as we can get, as much help as we can get, we need. But Jersey Cares, the organization that we're working with, is still contacting people and still getting new intakes for people that need help every day. It's been a great experience. We get to travel throughout the country. We get to meet a lot of great people and work with a lot of great organizations. And it's one of the things that I really like about the program is it exposes you to all different kinds of communities and cultures in America. And we've gotten to work with a lot of great organizations and do a lot of good work. There are a lot of different ways that you can get involved in your community wherever you live. And I think it's incredibly rewarding.